I'm from the foe. You dig?
Yo, 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 welcome back to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. I'm back with another video and I appreciate you all for tuning in with me. Go ahead and hit the like button, and before you leave, before we hit the end of the video, make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know if you're feeling what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, today I am here to react to ESPN's projected defensive starters for the Carolina Panthers. Now, of course, the entire 53-man roster was announced, and also they project out who's going to be the backups and the backups to the backups. But I'm only going to talk about who's going to get the majority of the snaps, and I'm going to give you all my thoughts on that. So without further ado, let's refer ourselves over to ESPN.com. As we can see here, we got at our left DN the man himself, Mr. Brian Burns. Now, of course, Brian Burns was just recently, over the past few weeks, named to the NFL Top 100. He was named number 76. So he is getting much recognition around the league and by the GMs, coaches, as well as his peers, who I think are actually the ones that vote on this list. He totaled 9 sacks, but that number does not completely encapsulate his entire impact that he had on the defense. Although the entire team was up and down at times, Brian Burns was pretty steady. He kept constant pressure, and I believe any offensive lineman that he went up against would say that they had a pretty tough time when it came to covering Mr. Brian Burns. So the only question I have going into this year is he going to be able to keep up that pace without Hassan Reddick attacking from the other side? I believe he can, but that's what football is all about. We do get the chance to see. The season starts in a couple weeks, and we'll see what my boy B. Burns got. But I think he go hold it down for us. Moving on from there, oh man, y'all can't see my mouse. That's killing me. Moving on from there, we have Derrick Brown. Now, Derrick Brown was drafted in the 2020 draft, I want to say. I was never, since he's been drafted, he's shown flashes of being able to stop the run, but clearly the pass rush has never necessarily been his strong suit. I don't believe he's ever, over the last 2 years, I don't believe he's eclipsed 5 sacks just yet, and he's oftentimes injured. I believe this year could possibly be a breakout year for him. This is his 3rd year. Not necessarily a prove-it year. This isn't a get-paid year, but I believe that he wants to answer a lot of those questions. He was a top 10 pick, so I definitely believe that he wants to validate that draft status. In no way, shape, or form do I ever believe, even if he reaches his ceiling, that he'll be a Aaron Donald type player. But similar to another player in the division, I at least want him to be a Vita Vea, a space eater, just somebody that's mean and that can always keep up the pressure up the middle, because that always gives an advantage to that front four, and that just helps out the secondary. So I would love for Derrick Brown to continue to progress, and I think he can do it. But like I said, I really hope he's up to the challenge, because I haven't necessarily seen it too much just yet. Now, new addition to the team, Matt Ioannidis. I'm not too familiar with this guy. He did come over from Washington. I did look up his stats because I don't actually have a visual reference to actually talk about with you all to give you my thoughts on his game. But looking at last year, it seemed to be his no, not last year. I looked into his stats, and the best year he had was pretty much the only game that he was able to play a full 16-game season. He had 64 total tackles, but he had 8.5 tackles from the D tackle spot. So I would be lying if I said that isn't impressive for anybody. Getting pressure up the middle and penetrating to the point where you're able to actually get A lot of sacks, almost eclipsed 10. That's pretty impressive. So I expect big things from Matt Ioannidis. Like I mentioned before, he's only had 1 year where he's actually been able to play all 10 games. So if he can come back and be healthy for us this year and give us that impact that he had in that best year that I just mentioned, I believe Matt Ioannidis can be a well addition to this team. Now, Yetur. Um, I remember a few years back when we drafted Yetur. Outside of his, fun to say name, he always showed flashes. I believe this is going to be the first year that he gets to start exclusively. I believe he was sharing time last year. Um, I believe he has some talent. He's somebody that I don't necessarily know how to project his year. There were other players last year that definitely showed to be better, more effective pass rushers. But this is him going into year 3, so possibly we can expect a jump. I don't really have too much else to say on Yetur, but hey, let's do your thing this year. Now, one of my favorite players on the team, one of the only holdovers from the team a few years ago, those Super Bowl teams, is my guy Shaq Thompson. I'm not sure what year this is for Shaq, but Shaq has been a monster pretty much every year for the Panthers, whether it be in coverage with that incredible speed that he displays year in and year out, or even when they need him to rush the passer. Shaq Thompson is an amazing linebacker that if the Panthers were to be a more winning team, I believe he's very deserving of a Pro Bowl nod or possibly a top 100. But at this point, he hasn't been able to put it all together to have that amazing season at the same time as the Panthers were winning. He was the third. He was the third guy behind Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly a few years ago, but he was still balling. But come on, man, those are all time greats for the team. But Shaq Thompson, the general back there, I expect him to have another great year. I expect multiple interceptions, multiple sacks, plenty of tackles, plenty of hard hits, and the typical Shaq things, man. So I expect a lot from him. So the next player I'm going to discuss is Damien Wilson. He came over from the Jaguars last year. He is going to be playing that middle linebacker role, playing I'm not going to necessarily call him the captain because I don't know if he wears the C, but because he's in the middle, I'm going to deem him the captain of the defense, or the quarterback of that defense. And for the Jags last year, he had over 100 tackles. 106 tackles. He had 3 sacks and 1 interception. So I looked at a couple of second level stats that are very boring that I know that you all really wouldn't want to hear about. But it did show that he's very, very good in run support, which just leads to us having a stronger defense overall. If we can stop the run, I do believe that our young secondary is going to grow to be pretty much dominant. I'm about to get to them in pretty soon in this video, but I believe the secondary is going to be just crazy this year. So if Damien Wilson can help up front with stopping the run, and if he can be any help in the pass rush, helping to feed our young secondary, I believe that we're going to force a lot of turnovers, and we're going to be a very effective defense. I definitely see top 10 this year if we can put it all together. Now, moving on. My guy, Frankie Louisville, he was a new addition to the team last year. Very fun name to say, and he flashed all year. I went to several games. I went to several games, home games this year, as I'm around the Charlotte area. I went to at least 4 or 5 home games, and when I say the crowd already loved this guy, even as a transplanted player, not necessarily drafted here. I do believe he's making a name for himself here, and as a pass rushing linebacker, he did his thing last year. the stats that elude me, but the eye test as a fan showed me that he's a player that deserves to get a lot more snaps this year, and I'm happy to hear that he's actually going to inherit that starting role. Looking forward to seeing plenty of good things from Mr. Frankie Louisville. Finally, we can move on to that highly touted secondary that I've been mentioning. We can start with the longest tenured part of that secondary so far. That is going to be our second round wonder, Mr. Dante Jackson. Now, in my opinion, Dante Jackson came in and immediately filled a role that isn't necessarily tangible by skill, but it was something that, as a Panthers fan, during our championship year or championship window a few years back, we learned to love, and that was the attitude, the arrogance, the rah-rah coming from that cornerback position that we got from Josh Norman in that infamous year. Josh did so much talking, man, and Josh backed it up each and every week. Now, Dante Jackson has yet to put together a year that has been as complete as reward filled or award filled as Josh Norman's year back in 2016. But his entire bravado, his entire demeanor, and his entire attitude when it comes to playing defense, I absolutely love. His football character, as well as when he opens up his mouth and cuts his promos, whether it be when he's mic'd up or in an interview. I absolutely love Dante Jackson. And the speed is just incredible. Let's actually talk about what he does on the field. He's a very... he's not the greatest, but I have seen, for what I've seen, for a second round pick, Dante Jackson has lived up to everything that I believe the Carolina Panthers expected him to be. He deserved the money that he got, and I'm looking forward to seeing him take a step in the next direction. Now, for the projected strong safety, we have Xavier Woods coming over from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Woods had his best year of his career last year. He had 108 tackles, 3 interceptions, and also 10 pass deflections. Those are some very, very impressive stats. And I want to say, if he was still alongside the safety, I believe Smith, the guy that the Vikings had, he was really, really good, been good for a long time. If he was still playing last year and he was able to put up these stats beside that guy, I really, really am impressed, because although the Vikings, although people like to laugh, Kirk Cousins and all that, the Vikings team has a chance pretty much every year with the roster that they have constructed, and now that they have Justin Jefferson and all the other pieces, they're lined up for a long time. So seeing that this guy has come over to the Panthers just shows how loaded they might be. But I believe he's going to be a very, very welcome addition to that safety role. If I always reference the glory days, man, or especially that glory year, if he could have any type of Kurt Coleman impact in the coverage game on the back end, this defense will be deadly, because Kirk got an interception almost each and every game that year. Although that's very unprecedented, I do see Woods as having the ball skills, maybe not the luck, because let's be real, getting interceptions like that takes a lot of luck. But he may be our best cover safety we've had since Coleman, so I do wish him the best on that. Now, moving forward, who I believe is our best safety, and he's only 2 years in the game, is young Jeremy Chen. Now, this guy has been showing out on the back end, in the box, making tackles, making plays, since the day that he got drafted. I know that whoever's a fan, even if you're not a fan, just if you're a fan of the NFL, I know you remember the game where he scored on back-to-back plays, taking back, I believe, an interception, a pick six, and then getting a fumble recovery, forced fumble and a recovery on the very, man, it was just crazy. So Jeremy Chen, just like Brian Burns before him, I do believe that we can project this guy out over the next 2 to 3 years to be a player that is going to at least make 1 or 2 Pro Bowls. And if the Panthers can just win, just win. I believe notoriety and wins gets more of your players into these games and gets them more awards. I believe if the Panthers can put together an 11 or 12, I know that's a big ask. I know we haven't been there in a while, but an 11 or 12 win season over the next couple of years, I believe that Jeremy Chen would definitely be recognized for what he done for this team. His rookie year, he had over 100 tackles. This most previous year, he had over 100 tackles. So projecting that out, I believe that that's only going to get higher. His skills are only going to improve. And with the welcome additions that we've made on the other parts of the secondary, it can only make his job easier. It can only set him up to be more effective, to roam around more, to come down in the box more, to make more plays, to help more in the defense. So I expect big things from Jeremy Chen. And if you're seeing this video and you're not a Panthers fan randomly, because I don't have that many followers, I don't know why you'd be watching, you gonna know who Jeremy Chen is soon. Trust and believe that, man. So finally, we go move on to man, this was our guy that we picked last year. This is still my guy this year. If he didn't get hurt last year, I saw a potential defensive rookie of the year case coming from my guy J.C. Horn. He is back from his broken foot this year. If that's the wrong injury, I apologize. It's been a while here. I cover basketball and other sports, basketball as well. So, but J.C. Horn is our lockdown guy that I believe that. He has a much higher ceiling than Dante Jackson, and that is no diss to Dante Jackson. That is more of a compliment to J.C. Horn, because Dante Jackson has done great in his 4 years with the Panthers, but J.C. Horn has come out like you could take him out of the wrapper and he is plug and play immediately. So J.C. Horn is going to prove to be a lockdown corner on one side of the field, and that's why I alluded to players like Jeremy Chen and Dante Jackson and Xavier Woods actually being able to be a lot more effective, because on the boundary, the X is locked down. Like, let's be real here. He's going to be better than what we got out of Stephon Gilmore last year. I really like C.J. Henderson. I honestly hope he gets some burn if we don't choose to cover the tight ends or the slot receivers with a safety, and we actually run a package to bring on that third corner. I definitely would like to see Henderson get some burn, because I believe that he's actually very capable as a high snap count player as well. So I guess you can count him as a somewhat of a honorable mention. But with that being said, I'm going to bring the main camera back up to me so you all can see my beautiful face. I really hope you enjoy my breakdown. That is ESPN's projected defensive starters for this upcoming NFL season. If you agree with any of my takes on these players, if you disagree with any of these takes I had on these players, please leave me a comment below. Before you leave, please leave me a comment. A comment, like, all that good stuff. This is YouTube. You all know what I'm asking for. You all know what I need. It helps me with the algorithm. Please, if you're new here, I am probably going to start doing a giveaway or something like that soon when it comes to the subscriber count, because I really want to get that up. So please, please subscribe to the channel. I have a giveaway coming soon, and anybody that gets in here under 100 subscribers has a really big shot at winning a monetary reward for a giveaway for supporting the channel. So that's all I have to say for this video. I appreciate you all for sticking with me this far. I've been Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it. You all be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.